Good morning. Today is June 27th, 2023. My name is Richard Perez. I'm a Veterans Benefit Coach with the Kings County Library. This interview is part of the Veterans History Project. Please state your full name.
My full name is Frederick Reese Montes.
Well, welcome, Mr. Montes, and thank you so much for taking the time to sit down here and share your personal journey of military service. Let's start off and begin with your home and family background. So where are you from, Mr. Montes?
I'm from Hanford. I'm born and raised here.
Okay. Are your parents still with us?
No, they're passed on.
And what did they do for a living?
My dad was a male nurse for the Sacred Heart Hospital, and he also worked for the county hospital at one time during the war.
Do you have any siblings?
I have a sister that was handicapped, and she's passed on.
Okay. And what did you do before serving?
Basically, before service, I was right out of high school. I graduated in 1969 from Hanford High, the East Campus now. And then I went and joined the Corps, and I went and talked to the recruiter here in Hanford, and he said that, I said I wanted 3 years on the service. I didn't want 4. And he said, well, because you're coming in and volunteering, well, I'll give you 3. I'll try to get you 3. He did, and I joined at that time, and I went in and I'm going ahead of you, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And so what branch of service did you serve in?
Oh, United States Marine Corps.
And were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
And what year was that?
I'm sorry?
What year was that you enlisted?
That was October 29th, 1969.
So what inspired your choice of the U.S. Marine Corps?
Well, I had my uncles and my mom's brothers all went in the Army during World War II and Korea. So I was kind of always aware of what was going on, but I always liked the Corps. Number one, I had a cousin that just went in the Corps in '65, and he came over to my house and was dressed in dress blues. That's all it took. He looked really good, and he looked sharp, and I wanted to be in the best, and that's why I went.
Thank you for choosing to serve our country. So how did your family feel about your decision to serve in the U.S. Marine Corps?
Well, they knew that I was thinking about it during the year anyway, and just prior to that, so it wasn't a surprise. I had getting close to turning 18, so I was able just to go in and enjoy myself, and I did. But they were okay with it. They were worried about the war and the whole thing possibly going to Vietnam, but they adjusted to that, and they supported me.
So let's talk about military life and adjusting to it. So how was it?
Big transition. I woke my whole world up, turned it around, because you come in there feeling like you just got out of bed at home in the morning, and it's not like that. It's structured from the beginning, basically telling you where to go, when you go, and how to go. And it was interesting. I wasn't the only one. I mean, all the guys that were in that whole platoon at boot camp, they were in the same position I was. So we just bonded, and that's what they do. And we end up, from that transition we entered to when we graduated, it was a big change.
Big change.
Big change. Yeah.
Any specific trainer or drill sergeant that kind of sticks in your mind still?
Yes, we had one we used to call the Bear. He had done 2 tours in Nam, and he was I think it was a staff sergeant, and he. I can remember him coming in and addressing us, and he had some martial arts skills, and he showed us some of his martial arts skills that he wasn't going to tolerate anything from us, and that was a pretty good awakening right there. But I seen his purpose, and as we were going through training, you could see just the adapting to where he was, the way he looked, sharp, how he was dressed, totally came with command presence, and everybody just gravitated to that, and we went through. Boot camp was fine.
Tell me about any challenges you experienced during your training.
Challenge I would imagine is like one day when I went for my first meal, I went into the chow hall and line, and everybody's again marching in and everything, and I went up to get the food, and I only got a couple of eggs and some toast and stuff and a cup of coffee, and I went down the line as we were going down. And then the drill instructor tells you when to see. He looked at my plate and just grabbed me by the back of my neck, took me to the front of the line, and said, "Give this man everything on the line." And so I knew I wasn't home anymore. Mom wasn't giving me those eggs anymore, and I adjusted really quick and woke me up, and he woke everybody else up. They saw what happened to me. You know?
Right.
I thought that was important.
So you completed your training, and I'm sure you got a little bit of leave time. So what did you do on leave?
On leave, the first thing we got home, I came home and see all some of my friends and things, and be with my family, and it was just, I enjoyed it. It was just a great feeling. I remember going to church because I hadn't gone to church, and I went in uniform, and I felt pretty proud of going in there with the uniform on. It was a good adjustment. I felt good, and I knew the war. A lot of people were against the war at that time too. It was opening. You know, everybody was aware of that, but I felt pretty good. I went in there, and I felt good. I felt real proud of myself, and my parents. They feel proud too.
Sense of pride.
Yeah.
That's good. Was there any specialized training, and how long was it?
Specialized training, basically, I just, of course, the MOS that they give you, they said this is what you're going to be training in, and we're going to train you this. It was called a 106 recoilless rifle, which was almost like an artillery piece. And I went through that training, and it was a big adjustment too, because it made loud noises, and cleaning the weapon and the whole thing. We adapted to that, and we made it through. We got training and went through, and getting on helicopters and getting off helicopters. We did some of that training too, and that was interesting. I thought it was kind of exciting. You know.
Where was that training at?
At Camp Pendleton, here in California.
What was the weather like down there?
Sometimes it could be cloudy, overcast, and then it'd be a nice day, and then kind of windy. It was just off and on, you know. But it's really a nice environment, though.
So you say that you did some infantry training? Is that
Yes,
what your job?
basically was.
So what experience or skills did you obtain
From infantry? Oh, basically how to survive out there in the jungle, and you do the food that you got out there with sea rats or in cans. We had to learn how to do that, and basically march the whole thing, learning about weapons. You know, firing M14 at that time was still M14, and we fired the M14s and adjusted to that, and then later on we ended up getting the M16s rifles, and but that was our training with the 45 and the M16s. That was the training right there.
So once you got ready to graduate from all your training, were you notified where your next assignment would be?
Yes, we were at Pendleton, and we already had gone. We were getting ready for our orders, and they got us in a big circle, and they said, "Okay, this is where you guys will be going." And they handed out some paperwork, and they said, gave our names and said, "Where are you going?" And probably 75% to 85% went to Vietnam. They were getting orders to go to Nam, along with myself, and that was the orders right there.
So now you got orders to go to war. Now we're talking about war. So what year or years did you deploy to war?
I went to Vietnam in the end of May or early June of 1969. No, I'm sorry, 1970. Sorry, 1970, and I did a whole year there in Vietnam.
Where at in Vietnam did you serve?
There's a place it was Da Nang is where we landed, and out of Da Nang we went toward the Quezon Son Mountains, the first mountain range as you head west. And there was LZ Baldy, LZ Ross that had fire bases, and we deployed out of there.
Okay. So during this deployment to Vietnam, the war was continuing going on. What was some of the combat operations? Do you remember any of the combat?
Yeah, when I arrived, they already had, surprisingly, Artillery Falls was named one of operations that was going on at that time. So I just ended up, when I got to the fire base, they said, okay, you'd be going on a chopper back to that unit. I found that the unit was only a 12-man unit, it's a squad. And what we were doing it was an 18-month program that they had put on where we lived in the villages with the people. And so what we do is protect them at night, and we would go set up ambushes in different areas and stay there for the night, or if we felt they knew we were we'd move again. We were constantly moving because they were trying to get us, and we were probably doing the same thing. We were trying to get them, but we were protecting the civilians or the people of that village, because the VMVA would come along and just snatch up the men and take them to combat and make the women go and work sometimes too. But they had no choice, and if they didn't go, they would kill them. Right. So we ended up living them and got to know a lot of them. A lot of them were with us sometimes, because they always had the good bread, and we had nothing but sea rats. Right. So what we could do is actually get our food and put it in the bread, and made it a lot better. Yeah, so we got to know them and they got to know us, and they were supportive of us. But I knew if the MVA came through, they would do what they said. You know, there was no way, because it would actually kill them if they didn't. So it was a push and pull on you know, regarding that, and it was interesting. Yeah, it was kind of rough, but we worked through it.
So the local population, how they treat you?
They were good. They liked us being there. They didn't want us to go if we moved to another area or in the village, because we moved in an area of operation. So we always kind of moved around, and they were happy when we came and arrived at basically right around the evening time when we would come in, and we set up a little a night pause there, and then we'd be there for the night pause and set up ambushes from there, and then when the morning come, we got up and moved again. We were constantly moving.
And how long did you guys stay out for when you were within the local community?
We stayed there unless you were wounded, or if you needed medical assistance, then you would come back to the LZ, Ross, or the fire base.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you stayed out there all the time.
All the time?
Yeah.
Did you guys go back for a refit?
Not really.
Supply
Everything would come out to us. We would
drop down to the
yeah.
base?
They'd say it'd be at one location, and we'd be there waiting for them, and we got ammo and resupplied and everything with food and rats and the whole thing, and then they would take off in the chopper. And if we needed them, choppers were right there for us. They were really good about that.
How would you say that these experiences impacted your life?
Basically, it showed me a whole different life that was occurring at the time that I wouldn't even thought of being here in Hanford. Living how we had to, use the wells to take showers, or the rivers. There's no bathrooms out there, so you had to dig a trench. You do all that, and being with the people, a lot of them sometimes would get wounded from the enemy, and we'd have to give them medical treatment, so we had a corpsman with us, and so we would support that too. But it was their life was so easy, and then there was water buffaloes, there was animals out there that they would use to eat or to help them work out there in the field. And every day they would get up and work no matter what. Unless there was a firefight going on, they were out there working, doing the rice paddies and everything. Those people are hard workers.
Tell me about your military friendships.
Oh, the guys, you always hook up with some guys that are characters different in different ways, coming from different states,
Right.
and had different accents. And we had a good time because we got close. There was only 12 of us, in the corpsman. And so we got close, and we'd all support each other. Some of us maybe a few of us would clean our weapons, while the other ones had theirs on them at all times. So, and took turns doing that so we can clean our weapons. Always kept that at peak, and ammo ready to go. And at any time we needed to go, we were ready. But it was a camaraderie that we were there for each other, and we supported each other, and we wouldn't leave nobody behind.
Did you stay in contact with your friends and families during your deployment to Vietnam?
At first you kind of write. You do recall, and I had a girlfriend, so I would write there too. But in time, it was just you were just counting the days off. You had a little map of the month or whatever, and you just checked off the days, and you really got away from that. I would say contact my mom's. My letters were shorter, just to the how you doing? How's my sister? How you all doing? Everybody's okay. And everybody's all right. And they go, yeah. And I said, okay, fine. I'm just doing my time. I'll home soon, I hope. And everything. And religion was a big impact too with our families. So I felt good. They were supporting me all the way.
That's good. Any specific memories about your service in the U.S. Marine Corps you would like to share?
The impact that he got me, I was going to tell you too, we all worked together. Sometimes some unit would get some people wounded, or somebody would return back to the world, so they didn't have enough people, so they would pick other guys from other units and put it in and make up a squad. And I met up with this guy named Bones, and he was a really nice guy from Washington. I think he was from New York. And we got to know, and he knew the area that we were going to go into. I didn't know it. And he told me I had ambushed. He said, hey, Fred, I'll take it. We got to be good friends. I'll take your ambush. You take mine, because we're going to be in your area. I said, man, okay, that sounds great, man. I'll tell the squad leaders. So we did that. So that night, when he went out on ambush with a couple of, five-man team, ambush team, they were coming back and they got hit. And he got hit. He was the first one to go down. And it's always in my mind that it should have been me.
Were you awarded any medals or citations for your?
I got a Purple Heart. That was a citation. And then, of course, I got, from there, you get a Vietnamese campaign medal, campaign and service medal, and national defense. Those are the things. And then I got the Purple Heart combat action ribbon. Those are the ribbons basically I got back while I was there.
Would you like to speak about any other wounded comrades, fallen comrades?
Yeah, there was another one. He was a radio man. He came over because our radio man had to go get some medical treatment. So he came into our squad, and he was Uzar. And he came in, and we were going on a blocking force for a line company. A company we're pushing the MVA, and we were going to block them and be ready for them. So we were going up to the mountains, and we got up to a mountain. It was high, and we got up there, and it was a big, huge rock. We gave it a little bit of shade. So we were going past it. I was the first fire team up there, and I was following my team in there. And he was right behind me, and he goes, "Fred, there's shade here." And I go, "Oh man, I'll get to find some nice shade, you know." And he goes, "Yeah, man." So I went around the rock. The rest of the team was still coming up, the other two fire teams, and it just an explosion had gone off. And it was booby trapped. You know, you went where the shade was at, and it just took him at that time and wounded about 3 others. And I really felt bad about it because we just talked about he'd had a daughter, just had a daughter, and he was all excited about that. And I just tore me up, you know. But we got through that, and we got him on a chopper, and he went back home. But those are the sacrifices that I feel that we should be aware of, and what the sacrifice they did. Young kids.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, young men that
Yeah,
have served in a war overseas, and from all different parts of the United States have come together.
Yeah, and most of them were drafted.
Yes, sir.
No choice like they do now. It's pretty nice now.
Right.
But anyway, those are the two main guys that I felt really bad about. But
So the war ends and you're returning home. Do you recall the day your service ended, and what year was it?
yeah, when I got out of Nam, I had another year to do in service yet. So I went to Camp Pendleton. I was at Camp Pendleton Station there, 1st Marine Division in the 22 area there. And it was good. A lot of guys were coming back. We were kind of salty. You know, I mean, it's just like, you're not really, very squared away. And we had to get that back into us because we were, boots were always ragged or whatever. But we adjusted, and we had a good commander. We had a colonel that was a sharp man, and he supported us and knew about how we had gone through, and he was real supportive, and we really liked that. It was really nice to see that. I felt like staying in the Corps at that point, But that was just coming back like that was fine. But the day that you were saying that when I got out, that was I got my orders that I was good now. I got out 2 months early to the fact that I wanted to go to college, so they were giving early releases for college. So I wanted to go to COS here in Visalia, and I'd submitted paperwork, and the commandant of the Corps okayed it, and I got on August 25th, 1971. 72, I'm sorry, 1972. Yeah.
So did you continue to serve in any other organizations besides the
the trend.
Any volunteer with any military organizations?
No, I kind of stayed away from. I don't know. It was like a big change coming back, and everything here was really. I don't know. You hear that. When you got off the plane, there were people ready to tell you where to go, and what you did was wrong, and spit and do all this stuff. And we encountered that when I came into San Francisco, and I just kind of like you didn't want to wear the uniform anymore. I mean, and when you took it off, and you kind of want to blend in with everybody. The jobs weren't really available either. So I ended up working in an orchard field and disking the area there, for a guy that had an orchard, walnuts and things. So I ended up starting doing that right when I came home, and go to college. I went to COS too.
So your adjustment to civilian life, you could say, was a challenge?
It's a real challenge, yeah. And then the thing that helped out too, though, when I got to COS, I met a bunch of guys that were coming out at the same time from different services, from different towns, and we kind of bonded together, and we would all hang out and go places together. I'm talking maybe 10 or 12. And it was pretty neat, and so that helped everybody else adjust. Because you couldn't go and hang out because a lot of these kids were about 4 to 5 years younger, or 3 or 4 years younger, and they're just out of high school. And it worked out really good for us. I think that was a really positive.
That's good. I know you mentioned that you got an early release from the U.S. Marine Corps for college, and you went to COS. So did you utilize your the education?
Oh yes, sure did.
GI Bill?
Yes, it was great. It worked out really good.
What did you study in college?
At first, I basically just trying to get my my, English and all that stuff to squared away, but I ended up taking law enforcement. I wanted to look into law enforcement. I kind of looked at that, and it's really regimented. It's military like, So I kind of thought, hey, I think I could do that, and I pursued that.
And what was your occupation after?
After a couple of jobs being in the civilian area, I ended up finding a job with the county of Tulare, working at juvenile hall and boot camp, and that was perfect. I mean, I adjusted. The kids were young, and I was still my younger age, and I could see some of them having their problems with the gang activity and the things, different gangs in the communities and stuff, and we kind of talked to them and everything. And then I was in a locked facility for the high risk too, so I see some of these kids and some of the drugs that they're doing, and me and another guy would be locked up with those 15 to 20 kids in a locked room, locked ward like, and we talked to the kids and tried to work with them a little bit, and they respected that. I mean, we knew what we had to do, and if they had to be reprimanded, we did that too. But a lot of times we just want to work with them and let them know that we're here to protect them too, because it's kind of sometimes can be a violent environment too. But that was really good. I did that for about 9 years, and then I went over to Kings County, worked there as a probation officer on the road on the street, and I think that all helped me. I ended up being a probation officer instead, and that was good because the hours are good and the holidays off and everything else. That was really positive for me. So I ended up, and I had already started having a family too, so it worked out really well. And I got to do a number of jobs there that the chief gave me, and I was lucky. I ended up working for I was a probation officer, but I was working for the Kings County Gang Task Force and a narcotic task force. And then I ended up being a range master for the department. So all those things opened up more things for me to do, and I enjoyed it, and I had a great time. It was real, it was law enforcement oriented department, so we had cars and radios and everything in it. We carried firearms and vests and everything too. So it was.
So that transition from your service in the U.S. Marine Corps was almost like seamless, because it was a similar environment that you shared.
Yeah, a structured environment, law enforcement in a sense, and firearms, all that stuff together. It just, man, it was great. And I did 30 years with the county.
Wow,
retired
that's
out.
outstanding.
Yeah.
And through those 30 years, I'm sure you've had positive impact on a lot of people.
Oh, a lot
especially
of
those young kids
yes.
that you were charged to keep safe, but also
Right.
watching.
And adults that have just gotten in and out, they're having issues mentally or drug issues and stuff. I would see what they go through. I actually would talk to them, and I would try to say, well, this is what I'm going to do for you. And sometimes if I had to violate their probation, I would get them into programs right away. If I saw they could use some drug and alcohol, hey, that's where I put you, and I put them in to give them that. And if they successfully completed it, then probation could be terminated at an early stage.
I know you mentioned earlier about starting a family, so how long have you been married?
Oh, well, I had some rough times at the marriage level. I ended up, and I don't know if it's from that or some, but it was some things that I had to end up having 4 children, and I ended up being married, twice. So, but the wife I have now she's been outstanding, and I've just been lucky. It's been great. And, a lot of grandkids. I have 20 grandkids.
20 grandkids.
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah. And so everybody we come to Papa or Grandma's house or Nana's house. I got a pool, and I do everything I can for them and everything, and I support them. I go see them. They're all over. They're in Oregon and Vegas, and a few here in California too.
Has any of them considered joining the military? Or
I was just looking at it, and my 2 sons didn't go that route, and my daughters, of course, didn't either, and so I just, I didn't want to force anything on. It's a big job. But I have some grandsons right now. They're just coming out of high school and stuff, and they're thinking about going in They go, Papa, what do you think to do? I go, I don't want to say nothing about that. I want you to make it, just learn as much you can from it. I'll tell you what I know about it, and you learn what you can. And if you feel something that you want to do, I'll support you on it. I said, but I will never say that's where I want you to go. No, that's going to be your choice.
Exactly.
You know, so,
It's an honorable service to do.
Yeah.
You know, so, and again, I thank you. And have you stayed in contact with any of your fellow veterans or your battle buddies?
Yes, prior to my retirement in 2013, about 5 years before that, I just went online. I was working, I was doing paperwork, I was working administration part, and I said, man, I wonder if anything on, because the computers brought everything out.
Yes.
You know, so I ended up going online and seeing if there was a Marine Corps, and I said if they had any units. We were called cup units at the time. So I looked up in there and I see a guy that's our radio man. His name came up. That was my whole thing right there. And from there on, I got on, and they've been having reunions, and they're all from all over the United States, you know. And so I got hooked up with them, and from then on, we everyone we can, we'll try to have a reunion. I just came back from one in Tahoe, and there was about 12 of us, so there was about 24 with their wives and everything, and we get together pretty. We try to do it every year if we can, but it's there. The bond is like
It's
wow.
It's a lifetime. It's a bond that you will always have with your battle buddies
Oh,
for the
yeah.
remainder of your life, and you guys will be able to have that camaraderie and share that experience, the life experiences
Yeah.
that you shared overseas, and watching each other's back.
Yeah. It's still there.
And that just takes us right into our reflections of life. And I know you mentioned that you attend reunions. Are you involved with any other military organizations like the American Legion or the VFW?
I've talked to. There's one that's called the Marine Corps. I was looking at going into, but some of their work, how they do some things, it's kind of rough on me because I'm always working with my grandkids because they go to school or whatever. I'm picking them up, taking them to school and stuff, or their sports stuff. So I kind of do. So I kind of backed out of it. I was working a little bit with it, but I kind of backed out in it. But now that they're getting older now, I might just move back because I still like that. I go to the facility, whatever they have. Memorial Day or something? They'll have something. I'm there and I support them. I wear my cover, my hat, and my jacket, and I support them. And anything they do. And then of course, Naval Air Station is close by too. So all that, any function they have, I support them. All that.
So how have these experiences impacted your perspective on military service and war?
Well, we know how bad that is, and if we should be there, we should not be there, and it has a lot to do with the people we vote into positions. I think everybody should be really have a good idea of what people are they putting in different positions in the government, Congress, Senate, and all that. And because I think that has a big impact on who and what we end up doing wartime if we need to be and be ready and everything. I think we should always have that force ready to go if needed because some people don't like the way we conduct our government and they don't want to take things away from us, and we need to be ready for that. I'm supportive of all that, and I hope everybody chooses that whoever they're going to choose for that position is something they really know who they are.
Future generations will see this interview. What would you like them to know?
Well, it's the best country in the world.
I agree. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I just, like I said, it's the best country in the world, and I've seen it at firsthand. Even when I was overseas, there was Koreans that fought with us, Australians that fought with us, and their whole impact was they just admired our government, our country. And we brought them in just like brothers too. They were fighting out there with us against the enemy, and even the South Vietnamese people, they were good out there fighting themselves. So I just said that everybody looks at us and says we're leaders. We've got a great country. We just got to keep it together and
Stay united, right?
Exactly, stay united.
Exactly. Yeah. I saw you brought some of your memorabilia of some photos, and I'm going to go ahead and grab it for you.
Okay.
And if you want to go ahead and hold each one up and talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
And,
this picture here is my parents. They were, I think, a week before I graduated. They came in and they were able to be and see me there at camp We was actually at MCRD.
Are you?
In San Diego. And so I'm there hugging them right there. And the next picture here has them on graduation day, best day of my life. And I hope for them, they were really proud, and I felt good about that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my parents there at graduation there at MCRD in San Diego. And then training-wise, once I got done with that training, I went to Camp Pendleton for further training. There I'm out there. We were just kicking back after training. We just had a little bit of time for ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
some guys were taking the pictures, so I said, hey, I'd like to have one for myself.
There you go.
And then this here is there at Pendleton also. We were out
thank you.
just coming in off of some training we had out there. We had like a city made up like a village, and we did some training there. And seeing these others. This here is a picture. I'm with a general from the 1st Marine Division. I'm in the Nang Hospital, and I got wounded by a booby trap there, and he was giving me my Purple Heart. And that's something I cherish myself too, to have that award though. But that was it. And this is another picture I had there that I got malaria there, and this is a guy that was from the Army, and I had to go to Cameron Bay, which is nothing but Army down there.
Uh-huh.
And he was really good to me. He had got shot in the foot, so we were both talking, and he was from Orange Cove here in California.
Oh, okay.
Not too far away.
Wow, not too far, right?
Yeah, and I finally found him, and I found that he had passed away from Agent Orange, probably about 5-6 years ago. But his name was Santos Moreno.
Santos Moreno.
And then the rest of this, these are some pictures from Nam, me and a couple of guys out of a village area where I'm there with a couple of guys and one of the Vietnamese people, and right there in the jungle area.
That's you on the second to the right, huh?
Oh yes, I'm there from the second from the right.
Yeah, look at you, mean fighting machine.
And this is Jojo. He was from Italy. He was
Okay.
getting his citizenship by being in the military.
Oh, really?
Very good man. He had a lot of knowledge. He was there before me, so I sucked up everything he had, what he knew about the jungle, the fighting, the whole thing. I stayed real close to him. And then this is when I first came home. Came home in uniform. It was May of 1972. Yeah.
Wow.
And then this is my last duty station there in Pendleton, and I was working for a headquarters battalion. And
Okay.
that's that last picture there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, those are awesome. Those are definitely memorabilia pictures to remember there, Mr. Montes. And again, I want to say thank you again. Thank you so much for taking the time for this interview. And above all, thank you for your service to our country. And on behalf of a grateful nation, I would like to welcome you home, back to America, brother.
Thank you.
And would you like to have anything else besides?
No, I just I want to do this too for the guys that didn't come home, and I gotta go here, but it's for them. All those guys that gave everything they had. There's 68,000,
Yes.
maybe plus, and the wall's there, and I've gone to it twice, and I've been there, and it's a beautiful place. I mean, we're honoring all those men and women that were there. It's beautiful, but that's all I have. I still enjoy this as our country, and support it all the way, whenever way I can. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and again, thank you for your service. And just go ahead and complete our interview.
Okay.